It's the morning drive on 103.5 Ebola DFM, keeping your morning engaging as we take you through the smoothest ride on radio.
To 9:30 a.m.
Getting your morning inspired, be informed, let's interact only on the morning drive.
Make it a date with Martin Efanshuku, aka Meta,
and Christy Epi Emenari, aka Classy.
From Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
on the morning drive.
106.5 Ebola DFM.
Good morning and welcome to Abona, the 103.5 FM. Today, the 6th day of October 2023, and the time is 2 minutes past the hour of 7 this Friday morning, and it's time for newspaper headlines on Abona, the 103.5 FM. We'll take you through the news making the headlines on Nigerian newspapers this morning, but before we do that, let's go for a short break. When we come back, we'll continue on the stories making the headlines. Please stay with us.
You know that you have the right to quality broadcasting. The National Broadcasting Commission says any person, group of persons, or organization aggrieved by the content of a broadcast or the conduct of a broadcast station may lodge a complaint to the station and all right to the Director General, National Broadcasting Commission, number 20, Ibrahim Taiwo Street, Asokoro, Abuja, or send a mail via info@nbc.gov.ng. Please ensure that the complaint includes name of the broadcast station, title of the program, date and time of broadcast, and essence of the complaint. Also, remember to include your name, address, telephone number, email, and append your signature. Note that the complaint must reach the NBC within 14 days of the queried broadcast. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting.
You're welcome back to newspaper headlines on Ebona, the 103.5 FM. This morning, we are going to take you through the news making the headlines on the Guardian newspaper, Leadership newspaper, Vanguard, Punch, Daily Post, This Day, The Nation, The Sun, and if time permits, we're also going to take a look at Nigerian Tribune. Remember that you can become part of the conversation by sending your reactions via Nigerian Tribune. Remember that you can become part of the conversation by sending your reactions via SMS or WhatsApp messages on 08096661035. You can as well join us on Facebook as we are live at Ebonade 103.5 FM. Drop your comments on the link of the live video and you become part of the conversation. You can also stream us online via mixlr.com/gistfm. I am Martin. Let's get started with the Guardian newspaper this morning. Tinubu's Chicago certificate. Atiku, Wali's Obi, Kwankwaso, Nigerians for Justice. Tinubu's Chicago certificate. Atiku, Wali's Obi, Kwankwaso, Nigerians for Justice. Senate summons service chiefs, Inspector General of Police over kidnap of students. I use my security votes for projects, says Osun governor. Tales of neglect larges as Nigeria marks World Teachers' Day. MOMAN urges caution as government moves to reduce cost of crude production. ASC will work in 3 years, minister assures. MDCAN bemoans exodus of over 500 doctors. World Bank targets 1.25 million meters as federal government vows to end estimated billing. World Bank targets 1.25 m meters as federal government vows to end estimated billings. Stakeholders lament over 62,000 yearly maternal deaths. DSS, ICPC arrests former Unical lecturer over sex scandal. Governor stealing a lot. Local councils should get allocation directly, says Afe Babalola. UNDP, Swiss government pledged to resettle 300,000 persons in Yobe. Foundation recommits to education for kids, whose private sector. Federal government partners Egypt on water resources, food production. Calabar Carnival, Cross River government injects innovations. Chicago State University provide answers to all questions. Okay. FEM awards Nigerians 5 million naira scholarship to study abroad. FEM awards Nigerians 5 million naira scholarship to study abroad. Education is sick. Reform of Nigeria's education system. Respect court order. Hot impeachment process. Adeboruwa tells Ondo CJ. Lagos to host 5,000 women at national conference. Again, alleged 4.8 billion naira fraud trial fails due to Ibeto's absence. SAIPEC 2024 hosts February 13th in Lagos. Professional seeks removal of tariff on CNG. SMEDAN DRPC collaborates to empower women. Catholic Archbishop move for beatification, canonization of late teenager. Why teachers leave Niger schools by NUT. Experts canvass scientific oversight in laboratory planning, construction. Lagos partners Ekiti on environment. Experts, we've taken this. Accept defeat and quickly. Accept defeat and quietly lick your wound with some dignity. APC tells Atiku. Ego Foundation empowers women entrepreneurs in Lagos. Immigration produces 204,332 passports in 3 weeks. Urges applicants to come for collection. Lagos announces traffic diversion for installation of truck barrier at Doma Long Bridge. World Teachers Day. Governor Yusuf salutes Kanu teachers. Rivers APC crisis deepens as Wike-backed faction asks Ganduje to shun coal. Dakuku orders over juicy appointments. Gogo announces Ghanaians orders for first artificial intelligence accelerator program. Suspended Unical Don not kidnapped but arrested by security agency police. Tinubu's certificate. Atiku seeks support from Obi Kwankwaso. World Teachers Day. 3 Oyo State teachers in federal government awards. Police arrest 14-year-old, 2 others for robbery in Delta. ICPC 6 DSS collaboration on University of Calabar sex scandal. 3,000 Imo indigents receive free eye surgeries, other treatments. Federal government, United Nations, solidify 78th United Nations General Assembly country priority on humanitarian response. Mohbad, prime boy, surrenders self to police for interrogation. World Bank lists Naira amongst worst performing currencies in Africa. Gunmen kidnap 5 students in Nigeria. Why I collapsed during ministerial screening. Abbas. Army troops arrest 91 suspects for kidnapping University of Jos students. Chetima asks NEDC to focus on legacy projects. Johnson Johnson, 2 other firms, 5 promotes income diversification through agriculture. Private sector advisory group clusters 5 promotes income diversification through agriculture. No ransom policy. FIRS hopeful solid minerals sector will support economy. Divestment by IOC's big achievement for Nigeria. NCDMB says Ogunwu's US to develop critical sectors. And that's the much we can take from the Guardian newspaper this morning. From the Guardian newspaper, we'll flip over to the Leadership newspaper. Minister inspects Nigeria's Sports Hall of Fame, harps on athletes' welfare. FEPSGA, Guidam, laws team police affairs fit. Chukwueze will succeed at AC Milan, Taribo West. Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay get automatic tickets for 2030 World Cup. I wept for my daughter during her rough moment in BBN, says Ilabaye's father. Zenith Bank Women's Basketball League. First Bank suffer second straight defeat, lose to MFM. Prime boy finally in police custody over Mohbad's death. Ajokuta still, Tinubu's store order and Chaibu's daring posture. Poor politics stifling Africa's growth. Ezekwesili. REDAN laws BUA cement over price reduction, 6 market reflection. Federal government, World Bank partner to train 50,000 youths on digital skills. Federal government flags off $1.25 M metering project with $500 million World Bank funding. Federal government flags off 1.25 M metering project with 500 million World Bank funding. NMPCL 80% ready for IPO. Kiari. DMO raises 742.557 billion naira for construction of 4,000-kilometer roads, bridges. Shelf drilling secures $93 million jack-up rigs contract in Nigeria. Shelf drilling secures $93 million jack-up rigs contract in Nigeria. Pension fund assets rise to 17.2 trillion naira in August. Sex scandal. DSS arrests Unical Professor Ndifon. Non-governmental organization decries high rates of maternal mortality in Nigeria. Makinde urges appointees, others to be diligent, innovative. Akpabio, Tinubu's wife, Muhammad, others for Women Conference. Adeleke deploys joint task force in Osun warring communities. Foundation begins 1 month free breast cancer examination in Abia. Cross River needs 10,000 teachers. NUT. UNICEF treats 14,000 malnourished children in Borno internally displaced persons camp. Kidnapped Benue commissioner regains freedom. Why federal government must remove tariff on compressed containers. Expert. Niger pays 4 billion naira counterpart fund. NUT decries teachers exodus. FCT probes hospital Maitama over women's death. Misgovernance pushed us into agitation. EPA. 112,351 passports uncollected, says immigration. Nigerian news. Trending article. Wali's opposition as APC asks ex-VP to lick his wounds. World Teachers Day. Nigerian teachers lament neglect. Ghana names Pate, Lampate, others for US trip. The big break moments after Africa reality show season 2 begins. Impeachment. Ayedatiwa asks Ondo CJ to ignore assembly. Federal government charges online media on positive reports about Nigeria. Kidnapping. Senate demands special military operations in Northwest. Supreme Court decides Kanu's fate, December 15th. Are you in that number saved by Ozodemma? We have a choice on liberal democracy. State of education in North worries Amadou Bello Foundation. Subsidy removal. Marketers demand emergency palliative to ease petrol import. Paras Kaima district pays tribute to late Emir today. Expert 6 special center for sexual assault survivors. Stop violence against women. Group warns Kogi politicians. Seamless HR commits to exceptional customer service delivery. Seamless HR commits to exceptional customer service delivery. Reject politicians making empty promises. Bayelsa Monarch tells voters. MDCN to take final decision on missing intestine. Lagos Assembly. MPFL. Aqua United versus Sporting Lagos ticket goes on sale. MPFL. Aqua United versus Sporting Lagos ticket goes on sale. U.S. Consul General attacks youths on environmental protection. Lawmaker calls for political religious unity for a better Nigeria. OPSH troops recover body of missing Fulani leader. Vows to fish out killers. Manchester United star Ghana Shaw welcomes first child with his girlfriend. And that's the much we can take from the Leadership newspaper this morning. And from the Leadership newspaper, we'll flip over to Vanguard newspaper. Maternal mortality unacceptably high in Nigeria. MRHC. Afe Babalola to Tinubu. Governors have hijacked local government allocations. Why Ondo deputy governor didn't respond to impeachment notice. Adeboruwa. Rests order investigation into huge judgment debt incurred by MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies. World Teachers Day. Abiodun employs 3,000 teachers. Ghost workers. Reps ask federal government to conduct forensic staff audit. Norwegian author John Olav Fosse wins 2023 Nobel Prize for Literature. Shagamu court clash. Government lifts curfew. Tinubu's certificate. I am focused on reclaiming my mandate as Supreme Court. Obi. Passports administration. Immigration vows clamp down. Impeachment. Why Ondo deputy governor didn't respond to notice. Naira appreciates to 997 naira per dollar in parallel market. APC kicks as Atiku says only Supreme Court can end his fight with Tinubu. Unical, sex scandal. DSS arrest suspended law dean. Troops arrest kidnappers of 7 UniJaws students, 84 others. Abducted Benue commissioner regains freedom after 10 days in captivity. Ifon Ilobu, crisis, 8 feared killed as crisis worsens. Safeguarding our infrastructure. 3 dead as BRT hits motorcycle in Lagos. 3 dead as BRT hits motorcycle in Lagos. Catholic Church to canonize 14-year-old girl killed for resisting rape. Catholic Church to canonize 14-year-old girl killed for resisting rape. Mohbad, wanted prime boy turns self in to police. That's the much we can take from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And from the Vanguard newspaper, we'll flip over to the Punch newspaper. Shagamu killings. Ogun Assembly urges DSS to release member. Death penalty for corrupt officials not effective. NIPSS. Kidnapped Benue commissioner rescued. No ransom paid. Governor. Military steps in. Resident flee as Osun communal clash escalates. Terminate Okowa's electricity project. Monarch urges Oborowore. Bandits kidnap Plateau pharmacists. Bandits kidnap Plateau pharmacists. Bismarck's absence stores alleged 4.8 billion naira fraud case. Pollution. Reps to probe oil companies over alleged BIA violation. More investments needed in manufacturing, says Obasanjo. Senate urges resettlement of 1.5 million Benue internally displaced persons. Chicago record. Tinubu betrayed me. I will fight till Supreme Court verdict, says Atiku. REDEAN commends BUA on reduction of cement price. Federal government, UNFPA pledged to improve young adults' well-being. Zamfara governor meets vice chancellor over abducted varsity students. Agency moves to boost state revenue. Register for health coverage. Sanwo-Olu tells orphanages. Register for health coverage. Sanwo-Olu tells orphanages. Ogun approves 1,000 teachers recruitment. Ekiti understudies Lagos waste management orders. Speed up food security initiative. Group urges Tinubu. Ex-Gombe rep quits PDP. Castina governor orders local government payroll audit. Castina governor orders local government payroll audit. Scientists impute necessary in lab construction. Obaseki swears in AIDS, demands accountability. Oyo, Anambra teachers win presidential prizes. Obaseki pledges December bonus for Edo teachers. Benue promises better deal for teachers. Outstanding Ekiti teachers get 33 million rewards. Disregard request for my impeachment. Ayedatiwa writes Chief Justice. Drone kills 112 at Syria Military Academy. Defense Minister inaugurates Armed Forces Remembrance Day Committee. And that's the much we can take from the Punch newspaper this morning. From the Punch newspaper, we'll flip over to the Daily Post newspaper. Governor Rada urges customs to desist from harassing civilians in Castina. Tinubu certificate saga. P2B rejects Atiku's invitation. World Teachers Day. More Kaduna schools under closure. Threat. ASUSS tax Governor Sani. Distress. Sorrow as caregivers struggle to save malnourished children in Castina. Journalists are exposed to risk. Prioritize their welfare. Or your senator urges media owners. Journalists are exposed to risk. Prioritize their welfare. Or your senator urges media owners. Chicago University saga. Journalists are exposed to risk. Prioritize their welfare. Or your senator urges media owners. Chicago University saga. I asked Obasanjo to leave Lagos for Tinubu in 2003. Atiku. Chicago University saga. I asked Obasanjo to leave Lagos for Tinubu in 2003. Atiku. Tinubu has good heart. Means well for Nigeria. Chetima tells Northeast leaders. Jigawa civil servants raise alarm over alleged commercialization of IPPS enrollment. Why I rejected Tinubu as my running mate. Atiku opens up. Reps urge federal government to declare state of emergency on environmental degradation in Edo. Tinubu's certificate controversy. Atiku hails David Houdin. FCTA inaugurates 9-member panel to investigate death of one chance victim. That's the much we can take from the Daily Post newspaper this morning. Newspaper will flip over to the Nation newspaper. Federal government gives 25,000 naira to poor pensioners. Teachers endorse Ozadema for second term. APGA candidate visits Obube in Imo. Promises good governance. Imo Elders Council urges PDP, Labour Party, APGA candidates, others to step down for Ozodema. Civil society organizations reject INEC's plan to jettison electronic transmission of results in Bayelsa. Beware of politicians' empty promises. Monarch tells Bayelsa voters. Beware of politicians' empty promises. Monarch tells Bayelsa voters. Foundation disburses 207 million naira to 2,685. Kidnapped Benue commissioner freed. Abuja, one chance death. Senate invites Inspector General of Police, Ebotokun, ministers. Mubad, police arrest prime boy, 4 others. And still on the stories making the headlines on the Nation newspaper this morning. Gunmen kidnap pharmacist in Plateau. World Teachers Day. Your reward now here on earth. Tinubu, governors assures teachers. Nine-post silent transformation. Nine-post silent transformation. Reprisal attack and fleeing Imo communities exposed how vested interests hijacked federal government's e-customs initiative. Tribunal upholds KB Governor Nassau's election. Tinubu committed to developing Northeast. 3 days of rains to pound Ondo, Ekiti, Osun, Oyo, Ogun, 10 other states. Supreme Court to rule on federal government's appeal against Kanu's release December 15th. Stakeholders hail Tinubu Akpabio over NDDC board confirmation. That's the much we can take from the Nation newspaper this morning. And from the Nation newspaper, we'll flip over to the Sun newspaper. Impeachment. Ondo Deputy Governor writes Chief Justice. Adebola Akin, Bright. NMA. Others hail Lagos Assembly. Bayelsa. Civil society organizations reject INEC's plan to jettison electronic transmission of results. Intervention schemes. Federal government reserves 10% slot for older persons. Banking sector pledges support for Nigeria's economy. Why I want to unravel Tinubu's certificate. Adebola Akin, Bright, we've taken this. Why Katsina governor orders audit of local government workers over multiple salaries scam. Katsina governor orders audit of local government workers over multiple salaries scam. Pfizer, IQVIA, partner to improve health access in Nigeria, Ghana. Eleso, appointed foundation's CEO. Iruku, ex-Ohanese president, begins final journey on Sunday. Burial slated for October 21st. Germany contributed euros to Nigeria's economy in 2022. Envoy. Ghost workers, reps tax federal government on staff audit. Local governments are foundation of democracy. Akpabio tells councillors. MRH 100 million naira to fund healthcare for 5,000 women. World Global Cartoon Body admits Albert Ohams. Shagamu crisis. Ogun lifts curfew. Trade. Germany contributed 3 billion euros to Nigeria's economy in 2022. Envoy. Nigeria, a huge destination for investment. You are tuned to Ebona, the 103.5 FM, and this is newspaper headlines. We'll now go for a short break. When we'll come back, we'll continue on the stories making the headlines. Please stay with us.
ezinụlọ bụ ọdịmma obodo. Onye doziri ezinụlọ edozigo obodo. Family is the foundation of the society. Na ọdịmma ezinụlọ n'ebe ọ na-adị 103.5 FM bụ ebe anyị ga na-etinye anya n'okwu gbasara ezinụlọ.
Papa, mama na ụmụaka maka ịmata ihe gbasara ezinụlọ sonye Classic Lady.
Classic Lady.
N'ebe ọ na-adị 103.5
FM n'oge ọdịmma ezinụlọ. Nke na-abịara gị every Tuesday na Friday 3 to 4 p.m.
for your rights. Know your rights. Mara ikigari nwere. Basically, as a citizen of Nigeria, you've got it all. Freedom of movement, freedom of religion, freedom of speech. Onye karịrị gị ananara gị ihe ị nwere n'ike maka na onweghị ihe ị ga-eme. Ana gị, moto gị, a na-emekwu gị n'ụdị dị iche iche. Are you or intimidated in any way and means? By the person or group, ndị law enforcement agency ma ndị ọrụ nchekwa ndị ọzọ niile a na-emegbu gị maka na ọ nwere ihe ị ga-eme. Nwanne amawa gị aka anala gị oke ruru gị, gwa gị na ọ nweghị ihe ị ga-eme. Mmadụ asị gị na ọ nweghị ihe ị ga-eme na ọ ga-akpọchi gị for 2 weeks or 1 week maka na ọ karịrị gị. Mba nọ. Share your experience with 103.5 FM every Wednesday from 5 p.m. and Saturday 9 a.m. All anyị ka anyị kọrọ ya alụ. Kwa Wednesday ọbụla 5 p.m. and Saturday 9 a.m. All anyị ka anyị lụọ. Stand up, stand up. Stand up for your rights.
How best can we talk about the challenges we are having on our streets, our community, our society in general? Street report. If we do not address these challenges on Ebonadi FM, who will cross your streets? In your community, Street Report is here with hardcore journalism to get to the roots of our problem. Why don't you join me, Martin Ifanishku, number the force every Friday, 4:30 p.m. on Ebonadi 103.5 FM. Street Reports on fools in your face. On Martin Ebonadi corner 24/7, 24/7.
You're welcome back to Newspaper Headlines on Ebona at the 103.5 FM. Remember that you can become part of the conversation by sending your reactions. The fuel subsidy regime, Governor Oti. Non-functional local refineries promoted fuel subsidy regime, Governor Oti. Communal clash in Oshun communities escalates. DPO, 4 police shot. Service come week. Lalong charges NSITF staff to shun distractions. Work hard. We are driving initiatives for full deployment of 5G network, Dambata assures. Federal government vows to make visa difficult for countries who frustrate Nigerians. Anambra robbers meet Waterloo in Lagos. 1 dead, another arrested. Others flee with bullet wounds. Federal government suspends Enugu Psychiatric Hospital principal over misconduct. And that's the much we can take from the Sun newspaper this morning. And from the Sun newspaper, we'll flip over to this day newspaper. Bagudu Economic Summit to inspire confidence, realization of country's potential. Orders. Federal government opens bid for new phase of $500 million World Bank funded mass metering program. House to probe 226.3 billion naira judgment debts incurred by governments, ministries, departments, and agencies. Chetima seeks banker support for government's digital jobs initiative. Century Energy completes spread mooring installation of FSOLE Akosa terminal. Bagudu, we've taken this. Utica Capital launches investment insurance blended government on Quantum Travels marks 20th anniversary. We launch Ajala.ng. Nimet alerts on deteriorating visibility in northern states. IATA secures more data contributors for CO2 Connect. Stanbic IBTC unveils fintech subsidiary Zest. Unity Bank to reward frontline staff, customers. Article, reputation of our country. That move against Senator Akpabio. Carlo as House Deputy Speaker and legislative activities. Kefas takes definite steps to develop Taraba. As Nasarawa tribunals split decision sacks Governor Sule. First-timer senators legislative prowess in Red Chamber. Politics and drive to maximize nation's revenue. PMI lists 6 Africans among 50 standout rising leaders. FEM reaffirmed commitment to empower Nigeria's supply chain logistics sector. Pharmaceutical Association calls for urgent investment in pharmaceutical security. And that's the much we can take from this day newspaper. From this day newspaper, we'll flip over to the Nigerian Tribune. APC article, we sympathize with you. Bayelsa Guba, civil society organizations kick against INEC's plan to transmit results manually. FCC for 168 million naira debt. Varsity students. Senate summons security chiefs. Fuel scarcity looms as exchange rate crisis hampers oil marketers' operations. Stakeholders propose establishment of Health Development Bank. Osun, 8 killed, 4 policemen shot. Houses burnt in Ifon. MC Oluomo emerges acting National Union of Road Transport Workers Zonal Chairman. Cholera outbreak. UNICEF builds toilets, boreholes in Burundi internally displaced persons camp. Kaduna intending pilgrims 5 million naira deposit for 2024 Hajj. Adebola Akin Bright, Health Commissioner, NMA, others hailed probe by Lagos Assembly. MMPN mourns a passenger. MMPN mourns passage of late Tribune Yunusa Adeyemi. And that's the much we can take from the Nigerian Tribune. Headlines on Ebona 103.5 FM. We'll now flip over to our message. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now, we got a message from his popular faith in genuine Nigerian democracy was compromised from his birth when one Harold Wilson was selected by James Robertson to oversee the rigging of Nigeria's first election so that Ndi Anaria will dominate the country and serve British interests after independence despite the enticement. Okay. Now, he said vehemently refused to. Can Eho Bola Ahmed Tinubu forge the certificate he presented to INEC? Kudos to Nigerian police force for arresting 14-year-old and other robbery suspects. And he says kids should resist crime. Okay, Jomak from Nkule Zunaka, GRA. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we got a message from Engineer Ebuka Joshua Dawson from 33, and he says, I strongly commend the action Senate took by to summon the Inspector General of Police, the Ministers of Health, Miss Greatness Olorufemi And it says, who was stabbed and thrown out of the vehicle, and suing the General Hospital for manslaughter before the victims could not provide police report. Kudos to Anambra philanthropist who trains the youth on ICT and donates hundreds of laptops at Oka. Is a welcome development for others to emulate. Engineer Ebuka Joshua Dawson from 33. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now, we got a message from Pauline Wizu from Amagunza in Enugu State, and he says, Supreme Court fixed December 15 for judgment in Nnamdi Kanu's case. Honestly, the way and manner Nnamdi Kanu's case is being prolonged is not good at all. I am therefore appealing to Mr. President to kindly listen to the calls by eminent Igbo leaders for the unconditional release of Nnamdi Kanu for the sake of our democracy, peace, and tranquility. May God help us. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Also, Francis Nnamani from Amagunza in Enugu State. Now, we got a message from Ibudu Simon from Abagan, and he says, thank God for the commissioner that has regained freedom from certificate. Then I want to ask, does it mean people were aware Tinubu had no certificate but allowed him to lead Lagos State as the governor and many other political posts in Nigeria? This happened to every Nigerian president. After voting them into office, people will come from different corners with their confusions so that the person would not concentrate. It is very unfortunate. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we got a message. From Anya Fulugo from Net. Soludo, pumping money to churches are a waste to me because education is not free in the churches. Why still give them money after so much the churches are controlling? Anya Fulugo from Aguleri. He continued and says, P2B and Atiku is acting big brother Niger and with Tinubu. As long as I'm concerned, there was a country. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Anya Fulugo from Aguleri. Now we got a message from Patrick from Monteja, and he says, to say that is as a result of brazen hijack of the funds meant for local governments by the state governors in a situation where state governors appoint transition committee chairmen to pilot the affairs of the local government, and most of them work with those transition chairmen till the end of their tenure. What do you think that will happen to the federal statutory allocations of those local governments? Obviously, the governor will be at liberty to use those funds the way he wants as opined, and again, appropriate monitoring mechanism should be put in place to monitor would be excesses of the local government. And finally, all governors should ensure that elections are conducted in local governments of their various states within their 6 months in office. This is coming from Waloto Patrick from Munteja. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now, on our WhatsApp portal this morning, we got a message from Undu 524 billion naira embursement of missionary schools in Anambra State. They should afford the opportunity to reduce their school fees in order to consolidate our governors' free education from nursery to JSS 3 in government-owned schools. Ndubisi Okafor from Umweze. Umunashi, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll now flip over to our SMS. As we await network on our SMS portal, let's flip over reactions. And on our Facebook portal this morning, we got a message from Toju Ekwoba. And okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And then we got a message from Ozo Francis Nnamani from Amagunze in Enugu State, and he says, Senate summons service chiefs over rising insecurity, the spate of killings, banditry, kidnapping, and other forms of security challenges in this country is becoming worrisome and unbearable. Government at all levels should come up with sustainable blueprints and ideas towards tackling security. May God help us. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we got a message from Dr. Mrs. Mma Olebara from Owerri, and she must first improve the teachers. When a teacher is poorly remunerated, when a teacher is poorly remunerated in a poor condition of service, poor environment, combined with students who are not ready to learn, what do we expect? Let's motivate the teachers by giving incentives, paying their salaries and allowances regularly. They should be provided with necessary tools for effectively perform the job of educating the children. The working condition of the teachers is the learning condition of the child. Let's get it right. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Dr. Mrs. Mma Olebara. And then we got a message from Achuke Rosemary. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Also, Francis once again says, also Francis Nnamani once again from Amagunze in Enugu State says, thank God it's Friday. Troops arrest kidnappers of 7 University of Jos students and 84 others. That is a welcome development and commendable. Those kidnappers should face the wrath of the law without further hesitation. May God help us. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Chukwuma Onyoka, thank you so much. You're watching us live from Nemo. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And then we got a message from T-Man Nando Chukwu Kelua, and it's much we can take from our Facebook portal this morning. On our SMS portal this morning, we got a message that says, why is Atiku inviting Obi? Let him go ahead and get what he wants, as Peter Obi is fully ready to reclaim his mandate. No going back. From Oshiwo. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And we got a message that says, ability to pass in the exams. And it says, okay, these killings going on in nations is a sign of incapacitation in the side of the federal government. Kaduna and Katsina has become, your message is not complete, but this is coming from Honorable Onyeka Osakwe, and he says the activities of these so-called Agbero in uniform chasing commuters up and down in the name of traffic decongestion is worrisome and need to be properly oriented and trained, as their negative acts is like that of hoodlums. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Honorable Onyeka Osakwe. Now we got a message that says this one is coming from Wingate Mwakeze from Okozo. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Wingate Ikechukwu Mwakeze from Okozo. On our WhatsApp portal, we got a message from Bishop Peter Okudeba from Unkwelo Ugidi. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And this is the spot where we will call it a day on this particular edition of Newspaper Headlines on Airborne at the 103.5 FM. Remember, it comes your way weekdays. Once it's 7 o'clock, so keep the date and the dial of one at the 103.5 FM. Once it's 8:20, we'll be back with Birthday Splash. Until we meet again, have a wonderful morning. Of course, I am Martin. Have a wonderful morning.
Family is the foundation of the society. .5 FM, wherever you can get classic